Thanks for tuning in to Unbreakable with Chris Chamasiros. I talk about politics, sports, and entertainment to keep you well rounded. What's going on around the world? If you don't like hearing the truth, definitely don't tune into this channel. So let's get started. Today, President Trump, he comes up with a peace deal between Iran and Israel. And what does Israel do as soon as the deal is made? Benjamin Netanyahu decides, I'm going to drop 12 more bombs after the deal. He just had to push his luck. I am absolutely sick of all these other countries that can't get their garbage together. And they don't have a lot of options. Israel doesn't have a lot of options. China doesn't have a lot of options. Ukraine doesn't have a lot of options. Russia doesn't have a lot of options. You know why? Because President Trump is in charge of the most lethal fighting force in the entire universe called the American military. So if I'm President Trump, you know what I do right now? I obliviate the rest of the nuclear sites in Iran. I blow those spots off the map, not the Iranian people, because I'm sure they don't like the government either. I'm talking about the nuclear spots. Blow them to pieces so it's impossible to build nuclear weapons. After he does that, then you know what President Trump needs to do? He needs to call Benjamin Netanyahu on the phone and he needs to tell him, you know what? I'm sick of your, you know what? It's over. You're on your own. Deal with your own garbage. Just like the other clown from Ukraine, President Zelensky. I don't even like to call him a president because he's an absolute clown, cocaine addict, drug addict, Nazi. And that's exactly what he is. He comes to the White House and he thinks he's going to call the shots and he has all these options. And President Trump was absolutely right the way he handled that little lowlife. Like, what the hell are you talking? The only reason why you're acting tough right now is because we're backing you. It's about time that President Trump lets the world figure out their own garbage and just moves on. We have enough problems in America. We have 22 million illegal people here. We have sleeper cells. We have terrorist sleeper cells from Iran all over America saying that they're going to retaliate. And that's another thing I want to talk about. President Trump needs to call Iran and tell them this. If any of your sleeper cells commit a terrorist act on American soil against American citizens, it's going to be the worst mistake you've ever made in your life. And we're literally going to blow you off the map. And that's what President Trump needs to do. He needs to let all these other countries know we don't need you for, we don't need oil from anybody. We don't need crops from anybody. We don't need technology from anybody. We don't need weapons from anybody. We, America is the biggest consumer of products in the world. And not only are we biggest consumers, but we have the smartest people in the world living here, meaning that we could build everything ourselves. I am for America only. You'll hear a lot of people, so-called experts, say, that's selfish. You need to grow. We don't need the world for anything. They need us. And that's the problem with all these clowns. They think they have so many options. They think they could do whatever the F they want. Benjamin Netanyahu really pissed me off. He just had to keep pushing and pushing. He's a piece of garbage. Total piece of garbage. President Trump is trying to make the world peaceful. And you got Benjamin Netanyahu and President Zelensky acting like free agents, deciding they're going to do whatever they want to do. China acts the same way. Well, guess what? Joe Biden and Democrats are not in charge anymore. There's a new sheriff in town, and his name is President Trump. I really hope that listen, I'm a Christian, and I know what the Bible says about Israel, and I'm sure that's what fueled President Trump's decision making. But the Bible also talks about at a certain point when you are hospital or you're trying to help somebody, you're trying to even preach the Bible or Jesus, and people don't want to listen to you. The Bible talks about it. Brush your shoulders off and keep walking. And that's what President Trump needs to do with the rest of these countries. It's absolutely ridiculous that they think that they don't have to follow orders from President Trump. And I know a lot of people are not going to like this. Oh, you're an extremist. You're this and you're that. You know what I really believe? Since the rest of these countries can't get their you know what together, none of them, no country in the world has their garbage together. And how do I know that? because the United States of America gives every country in the world billions of dollars. If I'm totally okay with President Trump just saying, you know what, I'm going to run the whole world. I'm a builder. I'm going to build everything back up, and you're going to run your economy like ours, and I'm in control of your country now. I'm all for President Trump literally taking control of the entire world. It sounds ridiculous to you, but guess what? I don't care. That's what I'm for. Because President Trump, that's all he does is win. Look what he did with the tariffs, winning. Look what he did with the economy in America, winning. Look what he did with the border in America, winning. You know when the only time President Trump has trouble is when he gives direct orders and people don't follow his orders and then chaos breaks out. Why is that? Because President Trump is smarter than you. He's more educated than you. He's more street smart than you. He's more business savvy than you could ever be. And he knows how to run things. That's why. I am so tired of all these other countries. You have no clue. I'm so tired of all these people from other countries coming to America, bringing all their issues here, and then they want America to resemble the homelands that they came from. I don't care where you're from. If you don't want to be American, if you don't want to say Merry Christmas, if you don't want to wave the American flag, if everything insults you, don't come here. I don't care how you feel about what I'm saying. If you don't want to be American, don't come here. Let's listen to President Trump today. He was pissed off, and he deserves to be pissed off for dealing with a bunch of morons in Benjamin Netanyahu, President Zelensky. I don't even like to call that little cocaine addict a president because he's a complete joke, a fraud, and a scam artist. But that's a whole different video.
That have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Do you understand that?
I love President Trump for telling it like it is. That's exactly what it is. And of course, Democrats' heads are exploding. You know, you have all these idiot Democrats online. Oh, he only knocked Iran's nuclear capability out only 8 months. I don't care if it was only one extra day. Those lunatics, you know, the same country that chants death to America, the same country that's responsible for every terrorist attack around the globe, you want them to have a nuclear weapon? Of course, Democrats want them to have a nuclear weapon because they're anti American communist scum. That's why. They'd rather see America blown to pieces because they can't have their sick ideology implanted. You absolutely make me sick. All of you. You know what? Anybody criticizing President Trump at this point, you're just a total ignorant, uneducated, low IQ communist moron. That's what you are. And don't forget, Hussein Obama, while he was in office, he gave $50 billion to Iran. Might even be 50 trillion. Who cares? Billion, trillion, what's the difference? What do you think they used that money for? They used that money to pay for terrorism around the world. It's amazing that our CIA allows, I don't care if he's the president of the United States, he can be arrested like anybody else. He should be charged with treason. You're a president of the United States of America, and you gave $50 billion to Iran. No wonder why President Trump refuses to hang Barack Obama's picture in the Oval Office, because if I was president, Barack Obama would be banned from the Oval Office, never mind hanging his pictures. Trump also unleashed on Netanyahu in brutal call, ripped him a new you-know-what hole, furious over Israel's Iran strategy, calling it stupid and weak, while praising Qatar and blasting Israel intelligence. Insiders say it was the angriest they've ever seen him. No regime change. Iran has to do it themselves. He's exactly. If Iran wants new leadership, let their people handle their civil war. Just like in America, there was a civil war fought by only Americans. I'm so tired of the rest of the world that you can't get your shit together. And I'm totally over it. And then you have cockroaches like Ilan Omar, Mohammed Khalil that come here and they're pro-Palestinian, pro-Hamas fighters. Listen, I have a message for you cockroaches. Get on a plane, go to Gaza and fight for your people. But you know why you'll never do that? Because you're coward pieces of garbage. That's why. But you'll come here and you'll go to all the major universities and you'll try to brainwash American kids that they should hate themselves, hate America, hate their parents. I despise all of you. I despise Alexandria Cortez is literally the dumbest person in America. Ilhan Omar isn't too far behind. This is the type of people that they support. The pro-Palestine trash. Let me tell you something about New York City. If that pro-Hamas terrorist Zohran Mamdani wins, you could kiss New York City goodbye. We all know it. It's going to turn into London. It's going to turn into the UK. And who do Democrats support? Who does AOC? Of course, they support somebody like this. The same guy that chants death to America, death to American citizens, America should burn, all the other garbage that this idiot. Only in New York City could a piece of garbage like this have a chance to be the mayor of New York City. And New York, let me tell you something. If he wins, whatever starts happening to the residents there, you deserve every bit of it. Because a piece of trash like this should never, he shouldn't even be allowed in America, never mind running for mayor. He should be in Gitmo right now, being waterboarded and re-educated. I say this all the time. President Trump, you need somebody to handle that job. I'll volunteer and do it for free. Do you know what's going to happen when this far left lunatic Islamic terrorist wins as the mayor? Do you know what New York City is going to look like? Well, you know what? We'll just have to wait and see. I can't believe I'm actually saying this, but I want Andrew Cuomo to win, and I can't stand that murderer either. But hey, I mean, I'm gonna take the lesser of two evils. He also aligns himself with Linda Sarsour and Nadir Kawasani, two of the most prominent pro-terrorist organizers in the country today. It's absolutely sickening. President Trump needs to take all this trash to Gitmo and leave them there for the rest of their life so American citizens can live in peace and live safely. Thanks for tuning in to Unbreakable with Chris Chamasiros.